After young college students Andy, David Keith, and Vicky, Heather Locklear, participated in strange experiments, they both gain powers and they eventually get married and have a child together named Charlie, Drew Barrymore. She eventually gains powers herself and becomes pyrokinetic with some telekinetic abilities. It's because of this a strange government agency wants to use her powers to control and weaponize her, and because of that, Charlie and Andy are on the run. Despite the pretty interesting plot, for the most part, this movie is boring and bland. The thing that kind of holds the movie together is the relationship between Charlie and her father, but even that's pretty much forgotten in the second half of the movie. I just feel there's no emotion or character development, or really any story. The first half is them on the run, and that's kind of interesting, but neither of these characters are fleshed out all that much. Hell, the relationship between Andy and Vicky is barely touched on with the exception of a flashback. There's no heart, no passion, no love in this movie. Everything is just kind of there. This movie has a great cast, yet they barely do anything really that interesting. You have Martin Sheen, Art Carney, George C. fucking Scott, and Louise Fletcher, yet their parts are either minuscule or they aren't really interesting. As I stated in my Christine review, originally John Carpenter was offered the chance to direct while he was filming The Thing. He hired Bill Lancaster to write the script. King approved of this version, but Carpenter wanted Bill Phillips to write another version of the script. He allegedly wanted Richard Dreyfuss as the role of Andy. However, after the thing bombed critically and financially, Universal went to Mark L. Lester instead, and we got this uninteresting mess. It feels very much like Diet John Carpenter, where you have his visual style and tone, but none of the substance and heart that makes most of his films so great and interesting. I did like a couple things though. As I stated, the relationship between Charlie and Andy is a highlight, and the music from Tangerine Dream is fucking awesome. Plus, the climax is really great and exciting, and the first half is fine. It's just that the second half is bland as hell. The characters are pretty uninteresting and don't get fleshed out all that much. The plot meanders for most of the running time, and it takes a really cool premise and makes it kind of blah. King stated that this was one of the worst adaptations of his works and called it flavorless, like cafeteria mashed potatoes. It's not horrendous by any means, just disappointing with incredibly failed execution and the absolute epitome of bland filmmaking. Just watch the climax on YouTube. That part is awesome. For the rest, don't bother.